What is interesting is what do you do with the data? How do you clean the data? Which data points of the data are relevant for what you want to study? Do the relation.
What is the most common mistake students make when choosing a research topic?
They say, hello, my friend, ChatGPT, Gemini, Sourcely or Cite or whatever. Right?
Literature review. So why do students struggle with literature review and citations? So I think it's time to jump to our questions that came from students, including me.
It's not only from you?
Okay. No. I mean, I asked several students if they have some questions in the light of the fact that many of them failed from the proposal stage of the research. Yeah. So the first question is, why is research so important for students beyond just passing the course? I mean, what skills does research actually develop in a person?
Yeah, so I mean, first thing is, many students, unfortunately, have the objective just to pass. Okay, so, but actually it would be nice to have some ambitions and not only want to pass, but like pass with a sehr gut, okay, like the best grade in German. Like that would be nice. So that's my first comment. The second comment is, why is it important to do research? Actually, during your full studies, what most of you do is like just listen to something, study it, do the exam, and 2 weeks later, you forget it. I'm exaggerating and generalize, but for many people you have this approach. But a bachelor thesis is actually one of those moments where you do some independent research. I mean, you ask your supervisor, you ask me as the bachelor seminar leader and so on. But that's actually where you do some independent things. You try to read. You try to think, actually that is interesting. Maybe that I want to know more about. You try to develop some more critical thinking skills, which actually will be one of the most important qualities in your future life. Okay, that you not just take everything like at bare value, and that you accept everything. Okay, and it's really this independent thing because it's a very. I mean, I'm the program director, so I know it's the bachelor is like very. It's almost like a school, you know. Like you go to this thing, you do your exam, you learn, and. It's not like in the Germanic system. It's much more independent. You have to check the modules. You're much less assistant. You don't have help everywhere. It's like a full-time job for you in Austria if you study at a public university or something. Only to study, because you have to get the right modules, you have to figure out what makes sense, to do this and that. You're much less assisted. So here, it's actually, finally, you have the opportunity to do something on your own. And I have many feedbacks of last year of students who said, actually, bachelor thesis, for me, it was the best thing in the whole studies, because it allowed me, to do things on my own, to collect data, discover new methods, talk with new people, get some new information, do some exploration, and generally people with whom I talked, they all thought it was very interesting, because you were talking about it before, but the memorizing and the entrepreneur. Yeah, so since many classes are a little bit in this memorizing style, it's good that you have with your bachelor something which is more about like own initiative, independent, and innovating.
Okay. And the other question that came is, actually, the author of this question is me. Yeah, I have to highlight that.
Otterbeck?
Yes. What separates real research from simply collecting information?
Yeah. If you're simply collecting data, then we talked about AI before. I can program an AI agent that can automatically download all the data. Yeah, I mean, okay, we don't need it. I don't need you to do this now. Collecting data can now be automated, and I can find everybody can download data. What is interesting is, what do you do with the data? How do you clean the data? Which data points of the data are relevant for what you want to study? Do the relationship between the different variables, do they make sense? Is there a theory behind it that allows me to understand why this variable A could have an impact on this variable B, and so on? Like, you should not be what is called sometimes pejoratively like a regression monkey. That's some term. We just try to regress some variables, or check some data on some data. You check some patterns. Done. Everything has to be linked to logic. You have to check, does it make sense? Logic. Is there a theory that is able to explain it? So simply collecting data is not research. It's one part of research, but the most important part of research is your input, where you try to analyze the data, then interpret the data, and then possibly, since you're doing management school, also find what could be the practical implications for business managers and so on.
Yeah. What is the most common mistake students make when choosing a research topic?
Yeah, I mean, first thing is very descriptive. So many people are just like ask the what question. Okay, I don't know what are the consumers of Uzum e-commerce market. Okay, and they don't really ask the why question. So that's one thing that I answered. Yeah, why is it like this? Why is it relevant? Why does it matter? Why should you study this? Why? Okay, to find like a real motivation also. It's like, I always like more topics where you like the student has some background and they're like, I don't know, did the PTS or so the practical training semester or something else in the past, or like a personal interest or whatever, or family, it doesn't matter. So that you really have like a motivation to do this, and not like, also just don't follow just simply trends that you want to check. I don't know how Instagram advertising have an influence on cosmetic purchases and so on. I have already hundreds of bachelor theses on this. It's really like, try to figure out what you want to do and try to answer why questions and not only what questions.
Well, in the beginning of writing a research proposal, many of my course mates, many of my fellow students had difficulties with literature review. So why do students struggle with literature review and citations?
Yeah, that's also a good question. I'm also wondering also, but I think that's actually one of the consequences of AI, to be honest.
Oh.
Because many people now to do literature review, what they do is they say, hello, my friend, ChatGPT, Gemini, Sourcely, or Cite, or whatever, write me a literature review. But up to now, except if you do great prompting, which honestly you don't do, okay? It's just a description, mechanical. Author A said this, author B said this, author C said this, author D said this, and so on. But a literature review is that you try to position your bachelor thesis. I mean, at the proposal stage, it's complicated because you haven't not yet done really the research, okay? But you try to position what you're gonna study, like relatively to the other papers that you're citing. And again, it's not, the exercise is not to show off how many papers you know. It's not say, hey, look, I have 45 references, okay? It's to show what is relevant, okay? Why is it relevant, this article? And how does it relate to your bachelor thesis? So that's a literature review. And honestly, but it's at the bachelor proposal, so I cannot be too strict. Honestly, almost nobody did this. Positioned the bachelor thesis relatively to the literature and so on. I had many people that cited also like references which were not cited in the text. Okay, they put it in the reference lists. Then I had people like, they just, like they say, author A said that this is important, author B said this is important. Yeah, but how does it matter for your bachelor thesis, okay? So it's really about positioning and about doing an analysis and not a mechanical description of what authors have written.
I think after watching this video, they will have clear understanding why they struggled that much. What are the benefits of using AI in a responsible way?
Yeah, I mean, AI is very helpful. And I told you several times, there's no problem using AI. Using AI for language improvement or for sort your thoughts or even like give you for brainstorming or whatever. Okay, there's not a problem with AI, but again, AI, what you generate, you have to understand what you're doing, and don't use AI. So responsibly means you only use it for things that you control and that you understand. Because if you, as it was the case, people generate texts by AI using vocabulary that only AI can come up with, or some seasoned researcher can come up with, but not a bachelor student who discovered the topic 1 week before. So don't try to impress the evaluator, so in this case it's me, with sophisticated vocabulary. I mean, if you use it, then you have to know what it is. And in my experience, when you at the bachelor exams, when you try to dig, many people fail then because they don't even know what they put in the thesis. So my tip for all those that are watching, please put only things that you can reproduce and understand. Don't put anything where you're not confident about it. Okay, and it's possible to use terms that are easier and describe the same thing that you can defend. So, but otherwise, AI is great. Okay, it's a time saver. It will help you. I mean, the English level is almost good for every proposal because everybody using AI to improve English. Before, we had. I'm 40, so and I'm doing this for 15 years. So, the English level 15 years ago and the bachelor thesis was not the same thing, okay? It's much worse. So now the English is more or less good, so that's good. You have this advantage. So now use this advantage that you don't have to spend time on language improvement that much to really go into depth and to understand what you're doing and why does it matter, why is your thesis interesting, and so on and so on.
The next question is related to the former one, the previous one. Where do students misuse AI the most?
Yeah, I mean, they outsource their thinking, so to speak. So they some of them use the facility and put lazy prompting, okay, and then the results also look lazy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, now this generation is already a little bit more advanced in AI using. So I don't have I remember 2 or 3 years ago, 80% had fake references produced by AI. Now it's only a few, because people generally now are careful and they try to check the links if they're correct. I mean, there's still people who don't do it, but you can see there's a change. But the misuse is really, I don't know. I would think, but I don't want to accuse people, that many people are not reading anything. And they just, put the articles, the references and reviews and everything improved and created by AI. But if you don't read the paper and you're citing it, it shows. So I read many things where you could see this paper has never been read before. And I mean, 2 or 3 students admitted it also, it has never been read before. So I understand time is valuable and you have a lot of other things to do and there are other classes to do and so on. But try to read, reading is one of the most important things. Also to keep your mind fresh. And so you really read the articles that you're citing and then you write it down and then, okay, you use AI to improve the English or this whatever. But don't use right away AI into your literature review. It's too generic and you can read it.
So what skills will become more important because of AI?
All the skills where you need your hands. I think they will be more important than before. Like there's been some more like studying bubble that many people study. Then there are not people doing like manufacturing things, at least in Europe. But since we are already doing business studies and so on, I think what is really important will become very important is what we generally call soft skills, you know, and social skills and so on. Because I mean, up to now, we don't want to do business with an AI bot because it's like so impersonal and like, you know, when there is a mistake coming from an AI thing, who is responsible for it? I mean, the person who programmed it or not, or is it OpenAI if it's ChatGPT? You know, there's all those things. So if we work together, then you know, it's something which is on a personal basis. It's clearer who is in charge, and do I like you or do I not like you? Are you able to do it? Are you not able to do it? Those type of things. So it always has been important to have some soft skills and social skills, to know how to negotiate, how to talk, how to rhetorics, how to like win the confidence of people and so on. So maybe that will become even more important because the purely technical skills, yeah, so some of them will probably with AI become less, at least on a basic level, will be harder to survive. I mean, all the big guys in software development, they cannot be replaced by AI, but smaller ones, there are already some, you know, like some easy coding can already be replaced, for instance, and so on. So, yeah, so I think soft skills will be more important.
So before we wrap up, what is one piece of advice that you want to give to young researchers and to your students?
Okay, yeah, I mean, one thing is you really should, if you want to become a researcher, you should know that that this is actually what you really want to do. So don't become a researcher because somebody tells you to become a researcher or because you want to please someone. Because at least for a young researcher, there will be many struggles. There's a lot of effort, a lot of time. Probably, I mean, when I started young, I also thought I would end up, you know, a professor in Harvard or something. Then then the reality comes.
Reality hits, yeah.
So you will have many reality checks in your life. But I mean, that's true for not only for young researchers. So you waste you spend a lot of time for education where you not will make that much money generally. So you have to be aware that there are many constraints and that it's a long battle. And PhD takes a long time. PhD is hard, for instance, if you want to become a young researcher at a PhD. Financing, you know, universities struggle more and more. So, I mean, PhD in business, to get a financed one, a well-financed one, more and more complicated. You will have to do a lot of teaching or something to finance it. So you have less time. So I'm just telling you, you need a long breath. You should not give up right away. It takes a lot of time. There are many obstacles. So, yeah, I don't know. What is my advice? My advice is be mentally prepared. Be humble. Because we have young people, and I was one of them as well. I mean, I'm still not very humble, but back then it was worse. You be more modest and be more humble, and reality checks. Be mentally prepared for, and surround yourself with good people. That maybe even better, like if you have someone who does the same thing like you do, because doing something alone is much more complicated than when you're like two who like mutually support each other for this track. So yes, so be humble, surround yourself with good people, and try to be resilient. Okay, don't give up at the first time you fall down.
Oh yeah. So we came to the end. Thank you very much, Professor, for your invaluable advices, for your invaluable time. I think our interview will find the right people who really need it. And once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It was a pleasure to talk with you, and I hope that at least it was useful for some people, and I'm already looking forward to come back to Uzbekistan in June. So thank you very much.
Yeah, at that time we'll see the result. Yeah.